Welcome back to your journal bonus videos. I am so excited to bring you the last video of these bonuses, but don't you worry, this is not the last time we can reconnect and be around each other. Before I dive right into what exactly that means, let's go ahead and talk about elevation. Let's talk about a new identity. Last video, I mentioned coming into this new identity of being a healed, embodied, and elevated woman. A woman who is no longer second guessing herself, a woman who is patient, loving, and understanding with their children, and a woman who's not afraid to ask because she doesn't have to worry of whether or not she has to give something in return. Now, all of these are possible, but the reality of it is that just because you're working on healing your trauma, just because you're embodying by taking care of yourself, doesn't mean that we don't then need to mold and build and recreate a new identity as a woman that, yes, has had this traumatic and tragic experience, but is also so resilient and so strong and so compassionate and so gentle with herself that she is able to not only tap into the tools and resources, but be able to mold herself into exactly who she wants to be despite this tragic incident. Now, in order for this to be able to take place, yes, healing is absolutely necessary. Taking care of yourself is absolutely necessary. And you want to start becoming and acting as your future self rather than your past self. Now, as a beginner, this is not something that I would necessarily recommend. This is for the woman who has really been working on her healing, has really been to maybe therapy, worked with a coach, and has kind of really figured out the healed aspect and the embodiment and taking care of herself and then stepping into this evolution. When you are in the beginning stages, your whole goal is to truly focus on healing and reconnecting with yourself and really letting go of the hell and the imprisonment that you've been living with this sexual abuse experience. Now, that doesn't mean that this video won't benefit you if you feel like you're more of a beginner and focusing on really just healing. That's okay. This is something for you to still think about as you're moving through your healing journey, your elevation journey, if you will. Stepping into your future self is more about acting from a place of feeling safe within, even though it is super fucking uncomfortable. The reality is that every time I've stepped into my future self, it's been so uncomfortable. The goal is to not erase the uncomfortability. Is that a word? I hope it is. It's not to erase that. It is to feel safe within ourselves and move forward in being uncomfortable. The more that you can do things that scare you, the more you're going to be in the right direction. And the reality is that when you've worked on your healing, when you're working on taking care of yourself, you don't have to worry about the fear taking you back and sending you to the beginning of your healing journey. You actually get really strong notions of this is the right direction despite this fear, and I'm going to take these steps. Now, again, this is why it's so important to be aware of that this is not necessarily for the beginner, because the reality is just feel the fear and do it anyway for a beginner is not going to be of service for you. It's just not, because the fear at that point is so real and so intense, and like you can't move past it. And that's why it's so important to focus on releasing without reliving again, which is something that I do with my one-to-one clients. And so as you are working through this, the fear is not as intense. It's not as real. You begin to notice as you've healed more that really the fear is the shit that you're making up in your mind, and it's not actually real. It really does become unrealistic and not something that can actually happen. And so you can march closer to your goals and you can step into the power that way. Now, this looks like a lot of things depending on what it is that you want for your life. In all cases, I believe that there really is no one size fits all. I have worked with women who they want the $1 million empire. I have worked with women that they just want a small cabin in the woods. I have worked with women who just want to feel comfortable and pay their bills and travel. So stepping into this future self of you really all does depend on what it is that you want for your life. What I'm going to do is leave for you the visualization for manifestation guide down in the description below if you want to take that route and just use that and begin to elevate into your future self. You absolutely can do that. But the reality is that healing and embodying and elevating, it takes support. It's not going to be just this one time, especially as a sexual abuse survivor. Unfortunately, for sexual abuse survivors, you really do deal with a level of self-sabotage that other people truly do not fucking understand. And I know this to be true because I have burnt my business to the ground out of sabotage because I was afraid of how good things were getting. And even still to this day, breaking up with struggle and suffering and not allowing myself to be abundant is one of the things that I still work on every single day. And I'm able to work on it every single day because I have support. I know how to be my own best client, if you will. But if you are ready for this kind of support so that you can step into this elevated version of you, so you can have peace and let go of the chaos, so that you can be grounded, so that you can be that patient and loving and understanding mom, so that you can live from your future self, this membership is going to be for you. The community made membership is specifically for sexual abuse survivors, where you will get a learning session 1 hour once a week, where we deep dive into teaching about trauma, empowerment, and embodiment, where we do a journaling session where you literally get to have an hour of specific channeled journal prompts so that you can spend time actually answering them. And this way you can be consistent and get it done at least once a week with other women answering the same questions. And then we would go into a guided meditation session that would be all about regulation and visualization. And of course, there would be a support session where you get to have live coaching. This is all for you so that you can truly be healed, embodied, and elevated, so that you can truly step into passion and purpose and really have the freedom that you want, right? I know that you're not just looking for time freedom and financial freedom. Yes, I know that you want those things, but you also want to have access to the tools and resources that support you to deal with life when it comes at you, so that you know how to handle emotions and triggers and flashbacks. And so you know how to navigate raising maybe a little girl or a child while you have also experienced maybe childhood abuse that makes you a little bit overprotective more than other mothers, which I completely understand. You actually have an opportunity to join the community made membership at a discounted rate. You will get this discounted rate for the first month as a thank you for investing in yourself with this journal. So be sure to join us down below at the description, and you can get in on these amazing sessions where you're not only going to learn about how sexual abuse has impacted you, but you're going to be able to release it and let it go and integrate it with support from me and from the sisterhood. Again, I invite you to join, and this is what I have for you. Thank you so much for checking out these bonus resources. Remember to tag me in your journals. I am so excited that I've been seeing them, and I will see you another time. Bye.